Well, it's a Friday. I've got nothing to complain about, but I am going to do a story here that I don't think I could do on my main channel. I guess I could complain about one thing. Monday in Michigan, there was a mass shooting at Michigan State University. And someone sent me a note during the event and said, hey, there's an active shooter right now on the campus of Michigan State University. You might want to be aware of that. And do you know anybody there? And I do. So I quickly sent notes out to a bunch of people, and then I took a screen grab of the notification, put it on my Facebook page and said, hey, there's an incident at MSU you should be aware of. And I had a lot of people thank me for that. And I had some guy come on there and start posting stuff about this is what you liberals get for having gun-free zones. And he posted that while the thing was still going on. It would be a few hours before they caught the guy. And so I wanted to leave the notice up, but didn't want to have a political argument break out beneath the notice. So I removed the guy's comment. And then he started posting more stuff because he got so angry that I had removed his comment. And so I had to block him from my Facebook page. And then I started getting notes about you liberals and I'm like, there's a time and a place for everything. And if you want to have the debate, you can have that debate. But you don't have the debate directly below a notification of something that's happening right now. And I have friends, very, very dear friend of mine has a son who is a student there right now. And I sent her a note, and she said, I already found out about it. I knew about it. Thank you, but I've already communicated with him. He's okay. But I know people who are very, very concerned like that. And for someone to jump into that discussion and post things like that would be totally inappropriate. But what I got to tell you, and what reminded me of that, is that I got a story. Several people sent this story to me. And I like to do this story on YouTube, but unfortunately, I can't do it verbatim. Now, every time I mention this, and it's not very often, but I will occasionally mention that there are topics that YouTube doesn't like you talking about. And people say, YouTube is censoring you, Steve. You should stand up to that. Well, you may know that my channel is monetized, meaning that there are ads that run on my channel. And advertisers have certain tastes, and advertisers can pick and choose who they advertise with. And so it is common in the mass marketing commercial world that some advertisers don't want their ads running next to certain topics. And so YouTube has kindly told me and other people, by the way, these are the things that you can talk about all day long, but here are the touchy subjects for advertisers. I don't blame YouTube for that. If anything, I'd blame the advertisers, but it's their money. They can choose who they want to advertise with or not want to advertise with. And I've known people who've gotten a channel monetized on YouTube, and they go, I can't get advertising. And I look at what they're talking about and go, okay, I understand. It's not that hard to figure out. But once in a while, I will have stories where I talk about something, and I'll get a flag saying, it looks to us like that topic you're talking about is inappropriate. And I've appealed those and won those because quite often in law stories, I'll be talking about something that in a different context could be a problem. So I'm going to let you know right now, there's a couple things in this story, which I think if I wanted to go to the mats on this one, I could probably win. But I know for a fact that there's 2 or 3 hot button topics in this story, and yet I have to do it because the story's that good. Northern Michigan man blows up Beaver Dam. Floods neighbors' properties. And I already deleted a word from there because of what he used to eliminate the dam. Kind of went kablang. And that's the kind of thing that YouTube and their advertisers are touchy about. But the story, as you might guess, is a guy on a piece of property had a beaver dam that was presumably built by the beavers there. And it was blocking a river and probably had some kind of impoundment upstream from it. And so then he eliminated the dam, and doing that caused the water impounded therein to be released and flow downstream and flood his neighbors' properties. It says neighbors, plural, properties, plural. So several neighbors and several properties were affected by the Beaver Dam, which is no more. So the story I'm going to read to you is from MLive, which is a Michigan news source. Matt Durr wrote it. It happened in Montmorency County. And by the way, beavers are quite common in Michigan. Almost any pond you can find, you'll find some beaver activity near it. They're very, very common, but they do chew on trees and they knock trees down. And if you leave them to their own devices and there's a lot of trees around, they will chew a lot of stuff. So charges have been submitted to prosecutors after a Montmorency County man allegedly used some stuff he bought at a hardware store to destroy a beaver dam along Crooked Creek. The Michigan DNR conservation officer investigated the incident after calls were received regarding reports of multiple loud noises and then an explosion that shook nearby homes. One of the callers speculated that the sounds came from a property with a new owner and that a beaver dam, which had been there before, was not there anymore. And the river then began to significantly rise after the sounds were heard. The caller reported that their property had begun flooding as a result of the rising river water. So the officer was able to locate the area where the dam had been and found several spent casings, which were recovered as evidence. The officer also noticed the water level had dropped dramatically, resulting in there being less water upstream and more water downstream, where it eventually leveled out. And so I've seen beaver dams. There's a lot of them in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And there's actually a very well-known beaver dam just outside of Copper Harbor, about 5 or 10 miles. And there's a little road and a beaver dam that's just downstream. And the way it impounds the water, it doesn't go over the road. And it just happens to work out that way. The beavers decided to dam the water in the correct side of that road. But if that beaver dam were to get knocked out in some way, it would go over that road, the water would. So the officer then was able to make contact with the property owner, who said, yeah, that was me. And I'm the one who caused that dam to go kaplooey. The suspect allegedly said that he did not think about what would happen, and he had not thought whatever would happen as quickly as it did when the dam was removed. And so he, according to this, admitted, yeah, it was me. I just didn't think about what was going to happen. So the implement that he used to ignite the stuff was also seized as evidence. The Montmorency County Prosecutor's Office will now decide if a charge of removing a dam without a permit will be formally filed against the suspect. And now, I did not know that there was an actual statute on the books saying that you cannot remove a beaver dam without a permit. But I suspect it says something to the effect of that you cannot do something with the water or the waterway that causes something like this to happen. So the same way that you can't just dam the water on your own, apparently you can't undam it either. Undam it all? Meanwhile, I went to look up the stuff that was at the center of that dam before the dam became no more. And it's a product, I guess it's an actual brand name, that starts with Tanner, and it ends with Wright. And apparently, it's something that is fairly safe to transport. But if it gets hit by something that is, then it will do the kaplooey we talked about earlier. And so I found other uses of it where people used it inappropriately, such as an off-duty U.S. Border Patrol agent back in 2017 used some at a gender reveal celebration, which accidentally ignited a nearby dry brush area and started a 46,000-acre fire. And he did this at a time when winds were gusting up to 40 miles per hour, and there was a fire watch in the area. And he was, in fact, an off-duty U.S. Border Patrol agent. So that was quite an ugly situation. And then, believe it or not, it is used at another gender reveal party in 2021, and that was done at the bottom of a quarry in Kingston, New Hampshire. And it rattled homes in not just New Hampshire, but also parts of northeastern Massachusetts. But no one was injured. Some homes experienced damaged foundations, and water from the faucet briefly turned brown. The person who did that one turned himself into local police, and the gender reveal party made its reveal announcement with 80 pounds of the stuff. So that is the story. But yeah, it's a beaver dam. And of course, it is one of those things that if you got a beaver dam on your property and you wanted to do something about it, you would, of course, take a look at it and presumably ask yourself, what happens if I remove the beaver dam instantly or remove it slowly? Or if I simply remove the dam, will they replace it? Because that's what they do. So you probably should consult someone about this and ask yourself and them, what can I do to resolve this issue? And this gets us back to the story of when you buy a piece of property and something is already there. Well, you knew it was there. Didn't you not know that the beaver dam was there? Okay, so you bought the piece of property and job number one appears to be remove the beaver dam. Okay, that's nice. Can you do that? How will you do that? What will happen if you do that? And so on. And so I would think if you're buying a piece of property, it's got a beaver dam on it, and your plans are to do something about it, you might want to consult with some experts and go, by the way, are there any legal issues I need to know about? What should I think about? And somebody might say, well, just to let you know, if that beaver dam were removed instantly, it's going to cause a wall of water to go downstream. How far downstream do you own? And where your property line stops, the next person, will they mind this big wall of water coming downstream? They might. And second of all, as I pointed out, when you do something about the dam, what about the beavers? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the beavers have a higher priority than the landowner does. I'm simply saying as a practical matter, you have to ask yourself, what happens if I remove the dam and I come back 3 weeks later and they put it back up again? So you may need to address that issue also. I am not a wildlife expert. I'm not even going to get into that. I don't know. But these are all questions that someone should ask, I would think, before they go and do it the way they did it. Because as noted, they've now submitted information to the prosecutor and are seeking to bring charges against the man who destroyed the beaver dam and flooded his neighbor's properties. And the sound of that, among other things, is what caught the attention of the neighbors. So that's the story that if I'd put it up on the main channel, I'm not quite sure. This channel's also monetized. I'll see what happens. But if this video gets flagged, I will make a note of it and let you know. But I think it's a good story, so I got to run with it. So there you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later.